In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a candy cane themed text. So first thing we're going to do is create a new file, File, New. You want to have your settings in pixels. You want to have your width at 800, your height at 600, resolution 300, color mode CMYK, and background contents white. Once you have those settings in, you can click OK. But do make sure your unit of measurement is in pixels. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate my background layer by right-clicking the layer and hit Duplicate Layer. I'm not going to rename it, so I'm just going to click OK. We're going to add a gradient overlay to this background layer. So I'm going to right-click on it, do Blending Options. I'm going to check off Gradient Overlay. We need to change some settings for it, so I need to actually click the word Gradient Overlay in order to change the settings. So first I'm going to change our style from linear to radial. Then I'm going to change the scale to 150. Next, we're going to click on our gradient box, which brings up our gradient editor. So the top boxes change your opacity. The bottom ones are your color. So we're going to change the color of the black one on the left to white. So type in F 6 times. There's your white. Click OK. Now you're going to change your one on the right as well, and you're going to type in 979797, and then click OK. Now we have our white to gray, so I'm going to click OK. And we're going to go ahead and click OK for this as well. So you have a nice little globe of light kind of in the center. We're going to place our Texture 72 image on top of our background layers. So I'm going to go to File and Place. And the reason why I'm doing Place is because it'll put it onto my artboard instead of opening it up into a new tab in Photoshop. So File, Place. I'm going to find my Texture 72 and click Place. Go ahead and resize it if you need to, so I'm just going to resize it a little bit. And I'm going to click Enter to apply my changes. Now with your Texture 72 layer selected, change your blend mode, which is right here next to the opacity. It says normal by default. So we're going to change that to soft light. So now it's not so bright. Next, we're going to add some text. So I'm going to come to my text tool. Go ahead and select your Cooper Standard text. Then go ahead and change the style here to black. And then the size 36 works for me. You might have to do something a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. So first I'm going to go ahead and type the word candy, but I'm going to hit my cap locks and type in candy. Then I'm going to select my move tool, select my type tool again, and now I'm going to type the word cane. And now I'm just going to kind of move these so they're kind of to the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we got my cane and now my candy. There we go. So now we're going to duplicate these layers. So I have my cane text selected, the layer, and I'm going to hold Shift and click the candy layer. And now I'm going to right click and duplicate my layers. Just click OK. And now we have two new copies of our layers. And we're going to change the fill to 0%. Go ahead and click back onto your original text layer. I'm going to do my candy one, and we're going to play with the copies later. So we're going to add some layer style effects to it. So I'm going to go to Blending Options by right-clicking on my candy layer. And we're going to start with the bevel and emboss. So I checked it off, but now I'm going to click bevel and emboss to bring up my editor here. So we're going to change the depth to 200%, the size to 15. We're going to uncheck our Use Global Light. And we're going to change our angle to 40. And we're going to change this one to 50. We're going to go to our contour, glass contour. To bring up more options, you're going to go to your settings wheel and click contours to bring these up. And mine are already here, but you would click OK. I'm going to click cancel. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to this last one on the far right, which is our valley low. Next, we're going to change our highlight mode to linear line. Linear light. And we're going to change the opacity to 100%. Next, we're going to change our shadow mode from multiply to screen. We're going to change the opacity to 70%. And we're going to go ahead and change the color as well. So double click on that little box and we're going to type in 878787 and click OK. And last thing we want to do is we want to check off our little box anti right here. Now we're going to check off a bunch of different styles. So we're going to do contour and texture. We're going to do inner shadow, inner glow, satin, color overlay, gradient overlay, pattern overlay, and drop shadow. And we're going to make some changes to those as well. So go ahead and click on your contour up at the top, and we're going to change this one to log, which is this one right here kind of in the center. Again, if you hover over it, it'll just kind of show you what it is. And go ahead and check off your little box as well. Next, we're going to go to our texture menu. We're going to change the pattern. So to get this settings, you want to go to your settings wheel and you want to open up your color paper and then click OK when it pops up. And now we're going to find our white diagonal. Bottom row, far left. I'm going to click on that. Next, we're going to change our inner shadow. So I'm going to click there. We're going to change the blend mode to color dodge. We're going to change the color to white. So again, you're going to hit in F 6 times. Click OK. You're going to change the opacity to 40%. You're going to uncheck Use Global Light. And we're going to change the angle to -108. Next, we're going to click on our inner glow. We're going to change our blend mode to linear burn up here towards the top. We're going to change the opacity to 61%. We're going to check our gradient option and click on that bar. Now, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, this is has no opacity right now, so I'm going to click on that top left box, change the opacity to 100. Now I'm going to double click my left box and I'm going to put in the color combination of 391 C21. Click OK. And now we're going to change the one on the right. We're going to change that one to F7 EFED and click OK. We're done with our gradient editor, so click OK. And we're going to change the size to 10. Now we're going to go to satin, just working our way down. We're going to keep the blend mode at multiply. We're going to change the color to FFEAE3. Click OK. We're going to change the angle to 60. We're going to change the distance to 6. We're going to change the size to 5. We're going to change the contour to linear. Let's see, that first one. And we're going to check the invert box, which is already checked. So we're just going to leave that. Next, go to your color overlay, blend mode, change that to multiply. And we're going to change the color. So go ahead and double click on that. And we're going to change the color to E0 D A D B. And then click OK. Next, we're going to go to our gradient overlay. We're going to change the blend mode to multiply. We're going to change the opacity to 35%. The style is going to be reflected. And now we're going to change our gradient. So we're going to click on that gradient bar. We're going to change the black to white. So again, F6 times. Click OK. And then the right one, we're going to do 9 6 times. And then click OK. Click OK with our gradient editor. And now we're going to go to our pattern overlay. We're going to go to the pattern. We still have our colored paper open, and we're going to select the red textured. We're going to change our scale to 7%. Now we're going to do our drop shadow. Change the opacity to 35%. The distance to 9. The spread to 10. And the size to 10. We're all done with our layer styles, so go ahead and click OK. And don't worry, you don't have to do those all over again for Cane. What you can simply do is right-click on your candy layer that you did all the effects to, select Copy Layer Style, click on Cane, and then right-click on Cane, and now you can paste layer style. And now it has added all of those layer styles to that text. We're also going to now play with our Candy Copy. So we're going to click on Candy Copy, right-click for your blending options, click the Bevel and Emboss, and we're going to change the size to 20. We're going to uncheck Use Global Light. We're going to change the angle to 59 and this one to 58. We're going to check our little anti-box. We're going to change our highlight mode to overlay. And we're going to change our shadow opacity to 0. Go ahead and click on contour. And we're going to do the half round option, which is right here. Double check. Yep, half round. And then we're going to check off our little box as well. Click OK. And then once again, go ahead and right-click to copy your layer style. And then right-click on the other one, the cane, to paste layer style. And go ahead and play the second video to finish up this tutorial.